Welcome back to Corporate Nitro.
We've just got back from a Northern Beaches road trip to pick up a Traxxas Slash. This is not too old, this one, because we can see a digital remote. I've never had a Slash before, although I've got a couple of short course trucks. So the reputation on this is amazing because it's one of the most popular short course trucks in the world. They are pretty much indestructible, and the short course body is amazing in dry conditions because if you roll over, they normally end up on their wheels again anyway. And they're pretty bad in the wet because they pick up all the rubbish and scoop it up and throw it back down on itself and make a huge mess. But in the right conditions, short course trucks rule. Their handling is fantastic. They can jump, they can turn, they can stop, they can accelerate, they can wheelie, they can do everything you want. So a four-wheel drive short course truck, I think, is the best of the best. What do we pay for this? We didn't pay anything. No, it wasn't for free. The deal is with this one that I have to go through it, fix it all up, put all the stainless steel screw kit on it, buy anything that needs replacing, start selling off all the gear, and there is quite a bit of gear here. And once we sell off all the gear, we will share the profits because I've got a great skill of putting things on eBay for $1, and there's a lot of stuff here. Let's have a look what we've got just quickly. We've got some shock fluids and oils. We've got some shock caps. We've got Easter eggs. We've got the original Traxxas motor, Vilinion. We've got the original Traxxas ESC. We've got a Castle fan. We've got springs, shock caps, shock parts. We've got some glue. All right, that's container one. Right, container two, let's have a look. Container two has got lots of wheels and tires. These actually look like my Revo and T-Max pattern, but they're not as soft, they're much harder. So lots of different short course truck patterns here, beautiful. We've got a Traxxas NIMH truck charger. No, this is a balance charger. Wow, wasn't expecting that. 2 or 3 cell balance charger. Okay, so you charge just from the balance port. Okay, like a cheap Chinese charger. Genuine parts. What's this? Charge cable. Tamiya masking tape. Okay, Shugu. Got no idea what that is. Looks like some setup balance station parts. Some charge leads, different connections. We've got an original iPod, which must mount to the TQI transmitter, so that plugs in there. And yeah, we've got some fiberglass tape, some more painter's tape, some hard drift wheels. That'll go good on some of my touring cars. All right, time for the meat and potatoes. Let's have a look. We've got a cracked body shell. We've got a pretty strong body shell, much heavier. We've got a bug body shell, beetle bug. We've got lots of shocks. Oh, we've got a beautiful workstation. Charger. Sorry, power supply. Front bumper and shocks. Oh yeah, beautiful big tire.
Yeah, big tire.
Some wheels. We've got some original manuals and stickers. Some more wheels. More wheels. We've got some Tamiya PS1, brand new, never used. I will definitely use that. We've got some lipos in a safety bag. I assume that they're 3S. Hopefully there's no spiders or cockroaches in here. Okay, this is my worst fear. This is a damaged soft pack. Okay, it doesn't seem to be swelling. I did have it in the car all day today while I was at the beach in the heat. Now it's not puffed, but it has taken a knock. And I know these things can take quite a few knocks, but you should not use soft packs in a surface vehicle. They're only for boats and planes. Okay, we've got the charger, the iMax. Is it an original? Is it a copy? Who knows? But my charger is terrible. This will be better than mine. We've got some springs and shocks. We've got another container of little goodies here. And then we've got the Slash itself. Not looking too good, but the good thing about it is that it's got a complete castle system. 4-pole brushless motor with a castle sidewinder ESC. As we expected, the screws are quite rusty. Looks like a bit of a bird's nest in there. We're missing a wheel here and an axle. Alright, we've got a bit of work to do here, but it should be good. We've got a waterproof steering servo, I can see. We've got a nice Intergy drive shaft in front. We're going to have some fun with this. So before we test this battery out, let's go and have a quick look at this last little box here, and we'll see what's in this one. Okay, fishing tackle box. Alright, we've got some scissors, some Loctite, some foam, some damaged arms, some different glues, heaps of body pins, some charge leads, more scissors, a drill bit, I think that's a pick. Okay, we've got some blades. We've got some foam mats to protect the body, a pinion gear, body clips, Dean's to Molex adapter, some slider drive shafts, and some other various suspension and driveline pieces. More drive shafts, more shocks, more wheel hexes, more shock pieces, some random screws, and lots of shock parts, another drive shaft, more nuts, and various hardware. All right, well, that's everything. And I guess the next stage of this will be to throw the box out, get rid of all the leaves and cockroach droppings, start cleaning off the dust, give the body shells a wash, wash everything in general, and then we'll start tearing apart this Slash.
Whoa, that's a mouthful.
Right, so it's well known in China that they use children for slave labor, and no age is too early to employ them, even if they're not paid and even if they can't talk. So I was thinking, well, cleaning takes up a lot of my time. Why don't I just use my 2-year-old to start cleaning parts for me? He's at an age where he can understand basic commands now, so I'll just give him some instructions. Okay, Joe, grab the purple Traxxas spinning workshop thing, car stand, this one here. Yeah, start cleaning that with the water. So pick up the blue scrubbing brush, yep, and start scrubbing that I want it to be nice and clean. Nice and clean. Start scrubbing it. Good boy. You keep going until it's got all that dust off it, okay? You keep cleaning it. Alright, so he can do that and I'll start working on some other stuff. Lots of corrosion here. We've got blue on this side. We've got yellow on this side. Wow, I feel like a dentist. Let's put some batteries in there just to see if this thing works here. So we've just turned the radio on, plugged in the little iPod. It's come up. Dashboard, profile, select model, training mode, media, garage, drive effects, support. You can see how charged the batteries are. It's saying 3 bars out of 4. Green, which means we're on. What's this vehicle? Dashboard, building dashboard. Okay, well I guess this is if you've got telemetry, which we don't. Alright, so now that we've got the wheels off, we can test the drive line if it works. So how we'll do that, we've already got the receiver, we've already got the transmitter battery connected. So if we plug in this battery, then I guess we can test. So I think the receiver box was here originally and it's been relocated up here. It's more room for the castle system. The original Traxxas system would not have taken all this room. Positive to positive. On. Alright. Steering. Alright, it's not the smoothest, but it's working. Throttle. Oh wow. Okay, definitely got some binding back here. This one's not turning. Alright, so the good news is that it works, which means that if we just give this a good clean and a lube, we'll be in business again. And yeah, just 3 missing parts. Drive shaft and axle and front bumper. I can't see anything else that it needs really. You know, the bearings are falling off, yeah, but you know, with the spacers out and the hubs off, of course they're going to fall off. It's not even that dirty really, it's just rusty. So I want to get this guy out. I'm not sure if he's been siliconed in there, or if he's just stuck, or if he's been spinning in there and ruined the wheel. I mean, I can't see where the wheel ends and the hex hub starts. It just all looks like one piece. It's so strange. I'll get a 2mm drill bit. Do one at the top, one at the bottom, and then we can put a 2mm shaft into the hole and we can punch it out. Maybe that'll work. Hasn't moved at all. Maybe we've got to drill more. Okay, got some throttle linkages, brake linkages from the Hyper 7. Now what's important is that they're the same length. So that means if I put both in at the same time, and then if I hit them both at the same time, might have some luck. Alright, so it's worked. We got it out. And the little hex hub looks like it's been spinning for some time because it's no longer a hex. It's completely round. So that one's going to have to go in the bin. And the other thing we've noticed is that there's no longer a hex in the wheel. So what we have to do is we have to throw the wheel out and the hex out. Or what we can do is put it back in and just leave it in there. Okay? And we have to remember that this hex stays with the wheel. Okay? Alright, so just went through the spares bucket, found an aluminium hex hub. This was found on and off on a 110 scale track. And went through all of them. This one seems to fit the little shaft the nicest, and also seems to fit the wheel really nice. So yeah, that goes in and that doesn't spin. Really good fit, nice and tight. So we'll keep that one so we can reuse this wheel. So we've got 3 of these wheels. I just need to see if we got one more, because they're a good brand, Proline. And Traxxas SC. Okay, there you go. Proline Traxxas SC. Not a cheap tyre at all. Since the wheel has got a bit of damage to the inner hex, and since the hex is rounded off almost completely, what I'm going to do, I've already filed down some of the edges to make them more square, so it's 4-sided now, not 6. Then I'm going to get the epoxy glue and I'm going to glue this piece into the wheel, since it's really hard to use either of these with new parts, so we might as well just glue this back in. And what I'm going to do to stop the glue going everywhere and filling up the hole, I'm going to put a 5mm tent peg in there in position, and just put a bit of foam to stop any sticking. Just wrap it in some cotton clothing to keep the peg vertical. Now hold it up. Can you see, Papa? Can you see me? Okay, you hold it there. Can you see me? Hello? Hello? Right, you hold it there. Okay, you hold it. Can you see, Papa? See, Papa? Higher, lower. Higher, lower. Hold it there. Okay? Alright. So, the glue has dried on the wheel. So now we've got to take this 5mm shaft out. Okay? But it's just going to turn it and then pull it out and see what happens. We want to make sure that the hex doesn't come out with this. Okay?
Yeah.
So we turn and pull and turn and pull. And the hex is still in there. The hex is still in there. And the hex is straight. So, job done. So I've made a mistake here. I've put the hex hub and glued it in to the wheel that was okay, instead of gluing it into the wheel that was stripped. Alright, so it's not a big deal, because we're going to have to damage this hex hub anyway, because it's got a 4.5mm hole, not a 5, so you can't put the drive shaft through it. And same as this one, it's got a 4.5mm hole instead of a 5. So we're going to have to get the 5mm drill bit out, drill this one and drill this one, and then put that in. Now if this spins in there because the wheel is damaged, then I'll just glue it in the same as I did this one. It doesn't matter, you know, we're trying to save this wheel, so might as well save the pair of them. So when you've got a damaged shock, you've got to make a decision. Are you going to pull it apart and try and bend it back? And it may work or it may not. Or should you just go to the parts bin and pull out some spare shocks that you've got, which I've got heaps. So knowing me, I'm going to try and fix it first, see how we go. Otherwise, yeah, got heaps spare. Just having a look at how things are before we start taking it apart for the clean, and I'm just wondering if I can put the front drive shafts in and just have a quick play with the car and before we take it apart. But then I've turned it upside down and I can see that this is all hooked up wrong. That arm should be facing forward so that this is perpendicular, but at the moment it's all doing weird angles, so there's no way this is going to work, because you can either have steering one direction or the arm hits there, so that's all wrong.
Whoa! I think I just bit off more than I can chew.
A little bit clicky but easy to turn. Alright, so that's great. And this one here is very clicky and hard to turn. So I don't know why you would want the diff so hard to turn. I mean, yeah, is there any point even having a diff if it's that hard to turn? That doesn't feel right. Click, 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 click. Let's open it up and have a look. So I've got 10k here, and then I've got 300k. So I would like to have some diff action, so I'll put a little bit of 10, top it up a bit. A shaft. Is that going to drip? Or is it too thick that it won't drip?
Rain, rain, go. Chicken and rainbow wrap.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Apples falling from the tree. Even orange carrots, they can help you see. A big yellow sun way up high in the sky, and those sweet green peas go well.
Alright, maybe that's the trick. Don't do up the screws too tight.
Red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue.
Now it's my favourite part of the restoration process. It's the cleaning process, and the reason this is my favourite part is that I don't even have to do it. I just get Joe and the parts and the toothbrushes and the soapy water, and I just let him clean all the parts. Alright Joe, clean all the parts from the slash 4x4 in this container, and then just let me know when it's all clean, okay? Can you let me know when it's all clean? Do you like cleaning the trucks, Jojo?
Like the truck.
You like to clean the trucks?
Yeah.
Time to clean the slash metal parts in some low odor kerosene. Just see if we can get this grub screw out, but if not, we'll just polish it. Vinegar for the rusty parts. Let's let that sit for 24 hours, loosen all that rust. We've been more than 24 hours in the vinegar, and got a bit of a reaction going here. We've got a little bit of skin. Looks like a burnt milk on top of the vinegar, but the parts look okay. The plastics look okay. We'll put the vinegar back in the jar, ready for another rusty day. So we're grabbing these shafts with the rust, and the vinegar has softened the rust. And then we just use a rag and we wipe the rust off. And now we are washing the chassis for the slash. It's a plastic chassis, and just giving it a clean in some cold water with some dishwashing liquid. We've gone through all the screws and we've sorted them by size, and what we found is that not all the screws are here for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the old rusty screws and polish up the ones that are missing from the two new kits. And while we're doing that with the high-speed rotary tool, we'll just watch myself on video of pulling the slash apart. Maybe it'll help me remember how this thing goes back together. Something I've always wanted to do is use my recycled shock oil that I've been keeping here for years, and was never sure how I would do this, but we've got some Traxxas shocks that we're not going to use, so I might as well put some oil in there and sell it to the next person. So I guess I've got a little syringe here. Maybe I can just suck this oil out. If you ask me what viscosity this oil is, I can't answer because I've been collecting this for years. Here comes the air. Now we've laid out all the shocks, and some of the shocks are really worn out. I'm not sure what this is. Is it sand that's removed all the anodizing and caused all the pitting? So since there's so many spare shock parts like these rebuild kits, I figured I might as well grab some of this stuff and make the shocks look good again. And I guess, you know, when you get a rebuild kit, almost the whole thing is there. I mean, what is missing really? Just the main threaded part of the shock. Almost every other part is there. That's crazy. You know, is that section there really worth so much that it's cheaper to buy a rebuild kit? I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll open it up, I'll empty the oil out so I can recycle it. There's no point chucking it, and we'll put all new internals in. And so what we're doing is we're keeping the spring and the body, and then yeah, all the other parts seem to be new in the kit. Okay, so yeah, there's a few parts that are recycled, like these adjusters are recycled as well. So what, maybe 3 parts in the whole kit. All right, let's empty some oil out. So we'll use the shock pliers to grab the shock. You can see these tool marks on the shock. That's when you use normal pliers instead of using a round surface like this. And you can see that these shock pliers can actually go to a larger shock, but it still works on smaller shocks like this and even smaller 110 scale shocks. Okay, so that's cracked open. And then I guess we have to do this side here as well. What have we got for that side? Can I use this? Yeah, that will work. So we can see a bit of deformation on the seal. The level is nice. The oil is dirty. So by letting the oil sit in here overnight, all the dirt will sink to the bottom. Okay, that's coming out purple, and that's the brown color of the dirt. How does the dirt get in there? I think it just hits the shaft and then gets sucked in. Alright, so this gives us a chance to give the shocks a good clean, because there's a lot of dirt on this O-ring. So we'll take the shock right apart, we'll give them a good clean tomorrow, and let this oil settle overnight, and then we can pour it back in tomorrow. We can see the dirt settling in the shock oil. See that cloud of dirt? That's the dirt falling down in the shock oil. And in a couple of hours, all that dirt will be on the bottom, and then there'll just be clear shock oil left that we can use again. Just did a huge shock cleaning session in the hot soapy water. So these are the parts we will discard, these are the parts we will keep, and we will open up some new bags and put some new internals in these shocks. What are you doing? Are you cleaning the parts? Yeah. Clean all the parts. And then when they're all clean, you put them over here, okay? Okay. Alright. Good job. Just putting some of these shafts back together. Now we've got 3 of these Intergy ones, and we've got 3, well, I think they're Traxxas ones because they look pretty standard. But then again, they might be aftermarket, because I've also found one of these broken ones, and these are plastic. So then I think these might be the Traxxas ones. 3 of these are aftermarket, and 3 of these are high-end aftermarket. Anyway, some of the pieces are broken, so I've ordered some of these, but I think there's some others floating around here somewhere. But more importantly, what I don't have is one more of these 2mm by 11.8mm. So what I'll do is I'll go through the spares, find my trusty stabilizer bar, sway bar, and it is actually the same thickness, 2mm. So I'll just cut a little bit with the pliers to get us out of trouble and get that through the holes there to finish it off. Alright, we are now in one of those evenings where everyone's asleep and I'm not on call. I can now put this Slash 4x4 Zero Maintenance Edition back together. We've got a pile of plastic parts, some new. Gone through all the drive shafts, prepared my 4 favourite shocks. I've decided not to put the Castle combo back in. I'm going to go back to the original Traxxas Valinian. Got some new front knuckles. Diffs have already been built. Some brand new anti-roll bars. Got a bag of new bearings. All the rusty bits have been polished. That's a spares container, stuff that I'm not going to use. Some new ball ends if I need them. So I think we got everything here that we need, including shoulder screws and all the screws we will need, including a new high carbon tensile screw in black and the stainless screws in silver. Alright, let's start. So we're having huge issues with the slipper clutch. Every time I would tighten down this nut, it would hit the stop and everything was loose. And I mean, all I'm doing is following the manual, and the manual says put the pin in the first hole and then do up the nut. Okay, so you know it's too much play. So what I've done is I've moved the pin further in to the next hole, and I think if I do that, that will let me clamp down the nut. Alright, so I think that's step 1 done. I think we've done the slipper, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we've got the correct hole. So yeah, we are going with the vermilion, so we'll just put a couple drops of oil on that bearing. I would imagine that this bearing has never seen oil, and it's probably going to get the shock of its life. Hey, how good is that? Feel brand new again, like the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz. After 4 years, I've finally got a bit of transmission back together. Mistakes that I made, forgetting to put this screw in from underneath first, listening to people online telling me where to put that pin. I'm just going to follow my gut and put it there because it looks fine, and keeping the pinion all the way to the tip when it needs to be much closer in here so that it sits in the middle. I've already adjusted the mesh, so everything's looking good. Just going to do up the bottom screws and then put the cover on. But anyway, more importantly, got a message going to bed soon. Okay, booty call.
More great reasons to say, I'd bank with Macquarie. Search Macquarie Home Loans or call your broker. Lending criteria, fees and T's and C's apply.
One more block of Amazon Flex deliveries, then Fiji, here I come.
Yay for me. I finally got something back together on this slash. Hope that's correct. Wow, that's a big slipper clutch, isn't it? From the E-Revo. Alright, I've been going for a few minutes now, and I can't get this on. So this universal went on no problem, this CVD. But this one here doesn't want to go in. So having a look at it, it looks fine. Having a look at the outdrive, that looks fine. So I mean, what's left? What could it be? Could it be this grub pin is bent? That's all I can think. This is bent. Because if we put this in, it goes all the way through and goes in. No problem. But I mean, it looks like it's skewed to one side. That's the problem, it's skewed to one side. It looks like this was manufactured wrong. It should be more in the middle. So it looks like this can't be used at all. We'll go to a different one. We'll grab another one. So if we look at this one's in the middle. Yep, no problem at all. Well, there you go, that's what it was. Had a bit of the stuff up. We've put these drive shafts in the rear, but then when it's come time to put the axles through, they don't fit. So obviously these Intergy ones must be for the front only. So we found these. They've got a completely different axle, much longer, and I've already tested them. These go through the rear. They come out through all the way, so these must be rear axles only. So what we'll do now is we'll see if we can hook these on to the out drives, and then we'll go from there. So we've done the rear clip, we've done most of the center, just missing a little bit of the cover and the shaft. So now it's time to go on the front clip, and this will be interesting because we've got to do a few upgrades along the way. So the front knuckles, the RPM arms. So I want to put the servo horn on, but I'm not sure if the steering servo is centered. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug in the 3S battery, and I might have to put it on a stand because I don't want this spur gear tearing up my foam bench. As for a battery tray for the transmitter, this one's pretty corroded, but it still works. I'm not really a fan of the AA batteries in the transmitter, although I do use it for heaps of cars, I'm not going to lie. But since my recent investment in Life batteries leads me to have both connections, the JST and the Futaba plug, well, that comes in handy because I can just put the Futaba plug straight in here and off I go. Not having any luck with the Life battery, there is no life being breathed into the transmitter. Not sure why, so we'll unplug it and we'll go back to AA's. Now I have to admit that connecting the front clip to the main chassis and trying to get that servo saver spring and the retainer all in place and then getting these 4 screws in, what a mission. This is one of the hardest things I've ever done this year. Does this center shaft really have this much play, or have I done something wrong? Alright, radio is on, iPod is charged and connected. We have a signal, so that's good. And what I want to do is set the endpoints. I probably shouldn't be doing this until the front wheels are on, but I'm very keen to have a look at what I can do with this little iPod. So just gonna have to guess what you do here. Oh, here it is. Subtrim 0, left endpoint 100%. Okay, that's too much. Okay, so now we've reduced the endpoints. Oh yeah, that's working. It's already not hitting. Wow, that is cool. That is that is easier than a Futaba, isn't it? Right, so we've turned on the car and the wheels are pointing to the left, and we can see the servo is not aligned straight. Everything's a little bit crooked. So let's go and use the app now and adjust everything. And we're going to undo the servo horn and reposition it in the straight position as well. So we just have to go to the, I guess we have to go to the garage and do channel setup and then steering, okay? And we can readjust the endpoints. So we'll just put this down so that we don't crash into the support posts. And let's get the hex driver, start undoing this one. Alright, so I've put a whole heap of sub trim in to get that throttle, that steering horn going very perpendicular, and the wheels look they look basically straight. So what we could do is we could put that back to 0 and then use the mechanical linkage. Okay, that's really what I wanted to do. So if we get this back onto 0 now, okay, everything goes to the left on the servo. Okay, so what we need to do is reduce the size of the turnbuckle to bring it back to straight. So we'll get the wrench out and we'll fix that. So it went about 2 meters and then it stopped. Steering works, but the throttle doesn't work. And the red light is flashing. I don't know, maybe low voltage cutoff because the battery's on storage mode, I'm not sure. Just connect up a spare Hobeo. Wow, that's a lot of power. On. On.
Ja, schön. Ja, genau.
Off.
Schön. Ja, dann macht ihr
Forward.
das nächste Mal.
Reverse.
Ja.
We have received a new transmitter. Here it is. This one is powering on, and we tested it with AA's, and it behaves very strangely. Sometimes the green light flashes, sometimes it doesn't come on, sometimes it does come on. So then I just plugged in a life battery and the green light comes on and stays on, which is good. So we've put the original Traxxas receiver back in. We've tested the steering. We've enabled the low voltage protection. We're just charging the big 3S battery now. And I guess all that's left is to recalibrate the ESC, because I've still got no throttle. And I believe you hold the easy set button to calibrate the ESC. But if you don't hold it long enough, it toggles the low voltage protection on and off. So I'm just reading the manual a couple of times to work that out, and then we should be good for a test drive. Something I didn't know about the Slash is that when you want to toggle the low voltage cutoff, you do it with the power on the ESC already, and then you just press the button and toggle it on and off. But if you're calibrating the ESC, it seems that you do it with the battery connected but nothing turned on. So you just go for the easy set button and hold it down, and that's how you get into calibration mode. Alright, something that's driving me crazy is that I've got steering and it looks like I've got throttle, but when I put the car on the ground, it maybe goes for 20 centimeters and then it stops. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. All I can think is that the battery is not healthy. The battery might be reporting 12 volts, which is a healthy voltage, but maybe under load there's significant sag. So I've connected up the voltmeter so that we can see what's happening to the voltage under load. So let's put the car on the ground now. So green light is on the ESC, so that looks normal. Okay, we're still getting 12 volts there, 12.1. Okay, so we'll grab our transmitter, which is using a life battery. Power is on. This is the new one that's arrived. We can tell it's the new one because it's got the shift button. Okay, so we'll give it a bit of a squeeze. Okay. Goes a little bit. And now it sags. Is the voltage sagging? See, I'm giving it full throttle. Okay, no, there's no voltage sag. It's still saying 12.1 volts. Okay, but the red light has come on, so it's no longer a green light. It's a slow flashing red light. What does that mean? Alright, so I think the battery is toast, and we can confirm because when we're charging it, it's not even close to the other voltages. So yeah, cell 3 is gone. So what we'll do is we'll go to a 2S battery. I don't have any Traxxas 2S batteries. Spewing because I had a 7-cell NIMH and I cut this off. Would have been perfect now. Anyway, let's make up an adapter for this one, solder it in like that, and then we can plug this into a 2S Dean's battery. Just use the cutters to trim back and expose a bit of the wire. New radio is connected with life battery, and we've plugged in the iPod. I guess we have to go to garage, don't we? Oh shit, just burnt my leg on the soldering iron. Fucking hell. Little bit of shoe fix on the back of the pad here, and that way we can whack this back on in its position here and then let that dry. Radio is on, glue is drying. We've got a 2S battery plugged in with my homemade adapter. I hope it doesn't catch on fire. Alright, so let's power this on with 2S, see what happens. Okay, we've got a green light. We've got a solid green light. Okay, that's what we want. We want this light just to stay solid. We've got some steering. And we got a bit of throttle. And this time the green light is staying on, so that tells me that this battery is trash, and we'll just play with it on 2S, I guess. Alright, well we've got the body on, and we can put the off-road tyres on to make it look better. These on-road tyres look a bit small, but I'd say that's a wrap. Alright, so we have flicked the throttle servo reverse direction using the iPod. So throttle is now reversed. I thought I would have to swap some motor wires, but actually I didn't. All I needed to do was recalibrate the ESC, and now the forward throttle is punchy and reaching full speed. Let's give it a bit of a test. Yep, it's very hard to steer it now. I can tell the extra speed. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's insane. Yep, that's the 2S I was expecting. Alright, so 3S would be nuts. Crazy.